Welcome to The Explainer. Today we're cracking open one of the most important books ever written on investing, The Intelligent Investor by Benjamin Graham. And let me tell you, this isn't just some dusty old book. It's a full-on philosophy. It's the very foundation that has shaped the world's greatest investors for decades. So you gotta ask, what's the secret?
You know, for a lot of us, the stock market feels like a total casino, right? It's this crazy, unpredictable game that seems like it's just rigged against the little guy. But what if that's the completely wrong way to think about it? What if you could actually stop gambling and start using a real framework, one that puts the odds firmly in your favor?
Okay, so this quote, this just perfectly sums up the absolute mania of the dot-com bubble. It was basically a battle cry against any kind of caution. The message? Crystal clear. Forget the old rules. The new game was all about hype, momentum, and buying stocks for one and only one reason. Because they were going up. Let's be real, that's not investing. That's pure, unadulterated speculation.
And that kind of wild frenzy, it just blurs a really critical line. See, an investor, they look at the actual business behind the stock. A speculator, they're just betting on which way the ticker symbol's going to move. And like Graham famously put it, investors make money for themselves. Speculators? Well, they just make money for their brokers. Getting this one distinction right, that's the first step to getting any kind of real clarity with your money.
So, okay, how do we find the antidote to all that speculative madness? Well, that's where we turn to the man himself, Benjamin Graham. Think of him as this legendary professor who brought a totally calm, logical game plan to a world that, let's face it, usually feels incredibly chaotic and emotional.
And here it is. This is Graham's definition of what an investment truly is. Now, it looks super simple, right? But don't let that fool you. This sentence is an incredibly powerful filter. I mean, think about how strict it is. It demands analysis, it promises safety, and it requires an adequate return. And according to Graham, if what you're doing doesn't tick all three of those boxes, it's not investing, it's speculation. Period. There's just no middle ground.
All right, let's really break that powerful sentence down. First up, thorough analysis. That means you absolutely have to do your homework on the company, the actual business, before you even think about buying. Second, safety of principle. This is huge. Your main goal has to be protecting yourself from taking a big loss. And third, adequate return. You're shooting for a satisfactory result, not trying to win the lottery. Did you catch that? He says adequate, not extraordinary. This is all about discipline, not wishful thinking.
Okay, so you have this really rational framework, but how in the world are you supposed to handle the market's totally irrational mood swings? Well, Graham gave us this brilliant mental tool to deal with exactly that. He wants you to imagine you have a business partner, and his name is Mr. Market.
So imagine this. Mr. Market is your partner in a private business. And every single day, without fail, he shows up. He's super helpful, in a way. He'll offer to buy your shares from you, or he'll offer to sell you his. He's always there, always ready to make a deal. There's just one tiny problem. He is completely and utterly unstable.
So on his good days, Mr. Market is just bursting with euphoria. He thinks the future is nothing but sunshine and rainbows, and he'll try to sell you more shares at just silly high prices. But then, on his bad days, oh boy, he's totally panicked and depressed. He's desperate to get out, offering to sell you his shares for way less than they're actually worth. The key thing to get is that his prices are driven entirely by his mood, not by reality.
Now, letting Mr. Market's wild mood swings dictate your financial decisions, that is a recipe for absolute disaster. And if you think, nah, I'm too smart for that, just consider this. Sir Isaac Newton, that Sir Isaac Newton, one of the greatest scientific minds in all of human history, he got completely swept up in the hype of a market bubble and lost an absolute fortune. So if it can happen to him, believe me, it can happen to any of us.
So what's the secret to dealing with your crazy partner, Mr. Market? It's realizing that you hold all the power. You are never, ever forced to trade with him. You can just ignore his daily offers completely. Or, and this is the really cool part, you can use his mood swings to your advantage. You buy from him when he's panicking and everything's on sale, and maybe you sell to him when he's a little too happy. He doesn't control you, you can make him serve you.
And that idea, buying from a panicked Mr. Market when things look bleak,
That leads us straight to what Graham called the central concept of investment. This is it. This is your ultimate weapon, your shield against bad luck, your own emotional mistakes, and the general madness of the crowd. To put it really simply, the margin of safety is just the difference between what a business is actually worth, its intrinsic value, and the price you pay for a piece of it. Think of it as your financial shock absorber. It's your buffer against all the things you can't predict.
Let's look at it this way. Imagine you do your homework, and your analysis tells you a business is worth $1 a share. But Mr. Market is having one of his bad days, so he's willing to sell it to you for just 60 cents. That 40-cent gap, that's your margin of safety. It's the cushion that protects you if, say, your analysis was a little off or the company just hits an unexpected rough patch. The bigger that discount, the bigger your cushion and the safer you are.
I love Graham's advice here. It's just so perfect. He said, buy your stocks as you buy your groceries, not as you buy your perfume. Think about it. When you buy groceries, you're looking at price, at weight, at value. You're not buying a carton of milk because of hype or a fancy label. And that is exactly how an intelligent investor approaches the market. They are always focused on that one critical question: how much?
So, how do we put all these pieces together? You know, the strict definition of investing, our crazy partner Mr. Market, this critical margin of safety. How does it become a real, practical approach? Well, it all comes down to building a different mindset, a personal philosophy that really sets you apart from the herd.
This is your new game plan. From now on, you're not just a ticker watcher. You are a business owner. You learn to resist the hype, to tune out popular opinion, and to think for yourself. You start to see Mr. Market as your servant, not your master. And you make one simple, unbreakable rule for yourself. Always, and I mean always, demand a margin of safety.
When you boil it all down, Graham's entire philosophy is really a declaration of intellectual independence. It's you, standing up and refusing to let a herd of strangers, people you've never met, make your financial decisions for you. And that leaves us with one final and really critical question you have to ask yourself. Who is really in charge of your financial future? Is it you, or is it Mr. Market?